Chris has got a new property. We're all excited, and we're going to lay out a habitat improvement and hunting plan.
Even if you're not a hunter, to see that is really cool. This is the middle of April. Today's April the 17th, and the clover and cereal rye is so much thicker from last year. The release process, it's awesome.
Hey, in South Carolina today, you probably know Chris Berry. We've shared a lot of updates from his property. We were back here, wrote a plan for this property in 2019, 2020. And in just a few years, he's really turned his property around. I mean, these were old ag fields, right? And they've been conventionally disked and corn bean rotation, just kind of used and abused.
All the good stuff.
And it was hard red clay. And you have turned it into an incredible, productive food source. And here, look at this, these roots holding soil, growing through that red clay. And it's actually turning that red clay into black soil, folks. This is Chris's best food plot year. It's taken 4 years. I mean, every year's been good.
Every year gets incrementally better, but this is tremendously better.
And I was telling Chris, this is probably the best looking food plot across the entire property I've seen in a long time. On a lot of properties, his plots look the best. And this is Green Cover's fall release.
Yep.
Run us through your planting season and what you've been doing.
So we do the fall release in September. We try to get started. It takes me a week, 7 days to plant all of our food plots. So it's hard to forecast that far out with rain, so you're always gambling. This year, I think I gambled right. I got all the seed in the ground with the fall food plot, the fall release, and then we got the rain. I think this looks great. I think we'd be surprised if in May, when we go in and do the summer release is what they call it.
Yeah.
I don't think I'll have to spray, which is nice because I don't want to spray at all. So there's plenty of food out here for the critters. This is by far the best I've ever seen clover anywhere. And it's ankle high right now, pretty much everywhere you look.
And we were talking about, how many brassicas are out here. And in years past, you haven't seen quite as many brassicas.
Last year, this food plot we're standing in, we call this milkweed because Grant found some milkweed back there. So this one probably had 100, turnips in it. Nothing this size, maybe half the size of that. And, 50 radishes, give or take. I'm making those numbers up. There's thousands out here now.
But you started paying attention to your seed depth when you were planting.
We got a lot better with our seed depth. Just good coaching from you guys. I'm a good learner. So I'm learning every year that I do this. I learn a little tidbit here and a tidbit there. We can go show them that strip where I planted the one and waited a week and planted 3 more strips. So timing does matter. Moisture matters. But I've got a bunch of buddies that have food plots that don't look like this right now. And I'm telling them, I'm getting the same rain they're getting. And I'm telling them it's just because I can hold more moisture than they can hold.
Because they're disking.
They're disking and they hear it, but they don't get it until they see this.
Yeah.
And now after 4 years, they're finally getting it, that disking it was a good idea that just didn't work. This is no-till. I'm making fewer passes. I'm using better quality seed than they're using too, so I'm sure that has something to do with it. But these critters eat better than I do. This is awesome.
It looks really good. I mean, it's, ankle deep, knee deep, some areas where the oats have really shot up. It looks really good. And we've got a lot of food. And we were talking earlier, deer don't have to browse all the way to the soil. It's not lip high. We've got, a lot of biomass building up here and a lot of food to help those critters through the winter. Because here it is, December. We still have some months left of winter. But what's really great is not only is there, great food like those brassicas, but we've got a lot of clover coming on.
A lot.
Which, after some of these species have been browsed and eaten through the winter, that clover is going to come on again, and it's going to be a really high protein food source going into antler growth, turkey season.
Lactating.
Yeah.
So this is all great. I could not be happier. Every year you're happy, and every year you see bonuses. Every year you see positive, advancements in what you're doing. The jump in what our food plots look like, and I care more than the deer care. But the way these things look from year 3 to year 4, has been tremendous. It's been awesome.
You've done a really good job, Chris. Very proud of you. And I mean, your food plots are really a gold star.
That's just
for
good
your
coaching
work,
on y'all's part.
what it looks like. I mean, this is incredible. And the camera doesn't even do it justice, because I mean, these plots are incredible. So nice work, Chris. We're going to keep on going around, see what else we find. But this is one great plot of many. So come along. We'll see what else we find. How's that soil changed since you first purchased the property?
Well, it's softer. It's not dark like in some of these spots are, but it's not hard. Before, when we bought this place, if you had me pull this up, the dirt wouldn't have come out of the ground. I would have broken the vegetation. So now we're pulling all this up. Got a worm that's frozen. And these are all the roots that y'all like to see. And it's not, you know, I can form it with my hand. That's good, right? That's all a positive.
Oh, that's great.
And look at the clover. So this is the 4th year of this food plot. Year 1, we were excited because we were out here getting started. The jump from year 1 to year 2, we were really excited. The difference in year 2 to year 3 was good, and we were excited. The change from year 3 food plots to year 4, this is year 4, this is nuts. We didn't have this clover here last year. We had brassicas here last year, but look at these things. I mean, we're 2 weeks out from Christmas. But the clover through here is nuts. We didn't have this whole carpet full of clover everywhere, and it's already ankle high. So by the time April rolls around, it's gonna be crotch high, and every critter in the county is gonna be loving this place. And look, they're already hitting it. Look at how big that was. That was the size of my head. They were eating the oats, and it was so fun. That was oats that I pulled up a minute ago. Here's another pile of oats. So they were eating all these oats, and when a deer bends over and bites off like a pile of oats, and he's got that hanging out of the side of his mouth and just sucks it all down, it's so cool. The critters the critters here are eating better than I do. So this time last year, this is basically what this food plot looked like. We had some radishes. That's a radish. Here's a radish. So we had some radishes and turnips here, but for the most part, this entire food plot, and I was happy about this, was just protected by the mulch that we had. All this mulch that you can see down in here. I was so happy. And look, you can see how it's darker there than when we get to the road and it's red. So last year, predominantly, this food plot was not our best food plot last year. Most of it looked just like this. We didn't have any clover in here. We had some radishes, some turnips, some of whatever else is in that food plot blend. But most of the food plot looked like this, just one little bare spot. And this year, I mean, look, if I just go here, look at all that. All of this that you're seeing right here is nothing but a testament to going the right speed in the tractor and finally figuring out the right depth for the seed with the no-till drill. You know, the first year or two at least, I was calibrating the drill, doing what I was supposed to do, and I was set it and forget it kind of thing. I just go do my thing. Then I got coached up because the food plots didn't look as good as I wanted them to. So I got coached up on, there's this one food plot here is 8 acres. So we could have a different soil type or 2 or 3 in it.
Or different soil moisture throughout the plot.
So you got to check. So, you know, about the time I want to stretch my legs, I get out and check it anyway. About the time I need to go put new seed in the hopper, check it anyway.
And we were talking about how your dough weights have seemed to start increasing.
Yeah, I mean, we'll see what it winds up at the end of the year, what the average weight is. But last year it was 98. I mean, this year it's got to be 115 right now.
And so as those dough weights increase, that means we're gaining ground. Because those does are making, you know, better milk, going to have healthier fawns. Those fawns are getting off to a great start. And of course, have tons of groceries out here once they're off milk. And that all equates to a healthy deer herd and bigger antlers.
Right.
And you're seeing some whopper bucks.
For South Carolina, we're real happy with what we're seeing.
Chris has obviously been doing some outstanding work, and his deer herd is certainly making progress, but I think it's important for Chris and all of us to remember that the mature bucks that are there now, well, they were most likely fawns, not born yet, or maybe a year and a half old when Chris got the property. Basically, they and their mothers were living in an Ethiopian or a third world environment. And because they had such a poor start, they're not able to express their full genetic potential, fawn production or antler growth. But those fawns that are being born under that better habitat, that made it to the USA habitat, those great food plots he's got, he's a couple years from seeing the potential of that property, and probably 4 or 5 years from seeing the full potential of the property. And I can't wait to watch the story continue to unfold as those deer take advantage of the great nutritional resources Chris has developed.
Growing Deer is brought to you by Bass Pro Shops and Cabela's. Also by Green Cover Food Plots, Winchester, PH Outdoors, Moultrie Mobile, Steel, Fleet Outdoor Apparel, Morel Targets, Fourth Arrow, Soil Pro Outdoors, Scorpion Venom Archery, Case IH Tractors, Burris Optics, and Redneck Hunting Plots.
Look at that. Look at that.
Did you ever see worms when you first got this place?
No.
Look at how dark that is.
And all the way through. The last time y'all were here, so April of 23, when y'all were here, you could only see you could see like a distinct line.
Yes.
Like an inch down. It was black on top because that's where the action's happening first. But it's the same color.
It's gained. You've gained
2 to 3 inches deep now.
This is the exact same spot.
Yeah, that's where Grant was beating his foot in the ground.
That we pulled this last time we were here, and just the difference in the soil is incredible.
Another worm. Big Daddy. Get back to work, man. Do it again. Pushing our luck. But that still looks great.
You look at that, you don't think South Carolina red clay.
I mean, if you try, you can make that
you have to look for it. I mean, that looks good. That's black. Let's pull another one up here.
Worm. Ha! 2. That might be the same one. That's 2 different worms in one pool. Yeah, and before April of 23, when y'all came out here, we weren't getting any worms. That's not true. You'd get 1 for every 10 or 12 pulls.
But I mean, here we're 3 pulls in, 10 feet away, and we've
got worms twice.
Yeah.
So definitely getting better. And the dirt just feels so much better. Remember how, what's the guy in Texas when you and Grant would hold it and it would just sort of sheet away in your hand?
Yeah.
I mean, we could that's a good mud ball.
And look at the soil structure here. I mean, we have clumps that we're still a little platy. You can kind of tell from being dissed over time, but we're going the right direction. We're starting to see these aggregates where we're starting to get clumps. And that means there's little pockets in there for water to go and air. And this is our aerator, the worm. And he's doing incredible work making these little pockets where we can now hold water. I mean, you've had this summer, you had some pretty tremendous rainfall. You got hit by the hurricane.
This year's been weird. Our rain numbers are probably pretty close to where they have been, but we get like a lot of rain in a short amount of time, and then we get nothing for a while.
And what do you see erosion-wise?
Oh, all of our roads are settling in. We don't have the runoff that we used to have. The problems that we have now that you see on some of the roads we have now, that was from all the logging that we had going on.
But that water is coming in, hitting the plots, and it's staying on the plots. It's not eroding off these plots.
We used to have puddling in some of our food plots, and I can show you that on what we call hay bale. That doesn't happen anymore. This stuff is just this big sponge now. It just soaks it up. It just soaks it up, and it just stays. And you can just see looking through there. This is a bunch of oats that they haven't even found yet. It's. I want to pull another one, just for fun.
Oh, there's another one.
Yep.
2. What's it smell like?
So we commented on that a minute ago. It feels really bizarre to put a wad of dirt in my face and tell you that it smells fresh.
Do you remember what it smelled like when Grant was first here?
Not really. I don't.
Nothing memorable.
It was nothing to jump up and down about.
Yeah.
All I knew is I didn't have worms, and now we have worms. That joker's in there with a bunch of roots.
Yeah. Very good. And folks, this is a testament to Chris's the release process, drilling and then crimping. So this is all that cereal rye in here, and this has just created an armor over the soil. And this is suppressed weeds. Mm-hmm. And you can see there's some spots where the food plot's maybe a little thinner, but that mat of that cereal rye has suppressed weeds. And not only is it suppressing weeds, it's holding that soil moisture in. And so that's the power of that crimper.
It was May of 21, 22, had to be 22. This particular food plot, we call it long and skinny, and it was full, 6 feet tall, and Johnson grass. So to go from that to this makes me happy.
Did you have Johnson grass this summer?
We did spray in September, but not. It was borderline on whether we should spray or not.
You've been knocking it back.
Bad knocking it back. We're winning the fight a little bit more every year.
So we use some herbicide in there, but we're also right now using plants to create that mulch layer. So what does make it through, we hit with a little herbicide, but we're making big jumps forward.
Right. And I'm not a PhD. I would like to tell you that the plants are doing the bulk of the work. They just need a little help from the herbicide every now and then.
Yeah. Well, Chris is showing off his food plots to me as we've been driving around, and they all look great. And they're not all just, ankle deep. There's some that have a little more browse, and, for whatever reason, just the way the ridge lays and, past practices from the farmer, there's probably a little more compaction. They're coming on, but they're getting to where we want to be, and more like these big plots where they're really shining. So super impressed by Chris's work. And Chris, what are you seeing this time of year? You're seeing deer on trail cameras. We're seeing browse. Historically, this time of year, do you start seeing more deer coming into plots? Are we going into winter? We've got a lot of food. What do you see?
So the answer is, if limiting factor is food, we've got more food than anybody around. So as all the acorns finally get eaten in the woods, this is it. This is where they're coming. And from a deer observation perspective, every deer that we've seen this year just looks healthier.
And you were talking about age class 2 of your bucks. It looks like your 2-year-olds look really good. And your 3-year-olds.
We've got several 2-year-olds that look fantastic. We've got a couple of 3-year-olds that hang out here that look fantastic. Like I said, my first hunt of the year this year was that deer blind right there, and the deer came walking out, and I said, oh my God, and didn't shoot because they don't get any bigger when they're dead. And I think he's got another year or two of enjoying all of this. I'm enjoying creation.
And you're out here a lot, and you're putting your hands in soil, you're monitoring all this very closely and doing a great job as a land manager. And you're doing a really good job, Chris. And I hope this encourages you. If you're in that red clay, you can turn it around, right, Chris?
Just takes time.
Takes a little time, some work,
follow the process. I think all of this is a testament to driving the right speed in the tractor, getting your seed depth right, and you're not going to do it right the first time. Maybe not even the second time. But after year 4, I can't wait to come back next year and see how much better it's going to look next year.
Yeah. And turkey season, you've got a pile of turkeys and all this clover in here. I mean, this is not only deer, folks. This is working for turkeys as well.
Yeah, we've got critters.
I hope this encourages you, and no matter what you're doing, whether you're managing land or you're just out hunting, I hope you slow down this week and enjoy creation. But no matter what, listen to the Creator and the purpose He has for your life. Thanks for watching Growing Deer.
They know what's up. Look at how pretty that's gonna look. So if I put a blind right here, just
Oh, yeah.
I mean, you can sit here and look at that all day. It's ugly right now, but with a little imagination.
2 years, 3 years down the road, I mean, that's going to be stunning.